All right, guys, I believe we are live. I have so many exciting things. There are so many exciting things. There are so many exciting things happening today. Just happening in the world of Fast and Easy QBO. I am excited, number one, about today's exercise. Oh, today's exercise. So good. It's so good. I'm so excited about this. I'm excited to share this exercise with you. The other reason I'm excited is because today we are doing our first drawing. We are now implementing a monthly drawing. I'll talk about that in just a minute. And so I'm excited about like the monthly drawing, and then I'm also excited because I have some big announcements. I have 3 big announcements, I'm only allowed to share with one of them with you today, and then next week from today, will be the second big announcement, and then today's announcement is not that big. It's a big, huge, like, relief thing for me, but I'll announce it and then you'll go, oh yeah, Margie, of course. But next week, you guys are going to be so excited. And then the week after that is when I share my other third big announcement. So much good stuff. I am Margie Remmers-Davis, and I am the creator of the Fast and Easy Way to QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor certification. And this is our weekly live stream, which we held every week inside of our Facebook group. I don't know why that's built up like that. It is our free Facebook group is called the QBO Gym Locker Room. And it is your spot for hands-on practice using QuickBooks Online. That is what we are all about. We are all about hands-on practice. Hands-on practice, hands-on practice, hands-on practice. That's what we want you to do, because we believe that practice makes profit. That the more you actually know QuickBooks Online, the better you'll be able to do your job, the more confidence you'll feel, the more you'll be able to, get clients, serve clients, okay? So we are all about that. As a member of the locker room, you have, I keep trying to turn on there we go. As a member of the locker room, you have access to a free Getting Started course. The Getting Started course teaches you how to get your free QuickBooks Online accountant account, how that accountant account is different than the regular QBO subscriptions that clients get, how to navigate it, terminology. Of course, you get hands-on exercises so that you actually know what you're doing a little bit in it. As a member of the locker room, you automatically got that course. So if you can't find it, if you don't know where it is, you don't know how to access it, then reach out to support@fastandeasyqbo.com and we'll look and see like what's happening with your account. But we did email it. This is why we asked you for your email when you join the locker room, so that we can send your course. All right, so also as a member of the locker room, you have access to over 100 free exercises where you can go in and actually learn QuickBooks Online hands-on. People are always asking me, where are the free exercises? They are in the featured section of the group. So in the group, you'll notice that there's a featured section right here. There's a post that says over 100 free exercises. The link is in there. So it should be right there on the main screen. If it's not, there's a tab here that says featured, so you can find the post there, right there, over 100 free hands-on exercises. Sometimes if you're on your phone, like you get a little, there's a little hamburger in the upper left-hand corner, and so you have to access the featured stuff there. But anyway, that's where it is. All right, so the other thing is by being in the locker room, you get a free exercise of the week, which is what we're doing today. And you get to follow along on our weekly live streams Fridays at 11 a.m. Eastern. Now, I will try and remember this again at the end, but next week, I am traveling in the morning. I don't know how this got scheduled, but I'm traveling in the morning, and so the live stream will be in the afternoon. So we're going to change the time next week to 2 p.m. Eastern time for next week only. Okay, so, and I'll mention that again at the end. Okay, now the exercise of the week is part of our paid subscription program. The everything I've talked about so far, totally 100% free. But you can also, if you want even more practice, you can get a subscription to, oops, not that, my goodness, Margie, this. All right, which is the QBO Gym. So the QBO Gym is a subscription product that allows you to actually experience being a bookkeeper. Now, the exercises that you get that are free, those are just one-off exercises. Just here's a scenario, here's a feature you're going to learn, and that's it. Okay, the gym is different in that it is an experience where you get to actually be a bookkeeper for a fictitious business owner. It's how you put all of the pieces together. Like you've learned these individual things, but now you're going to sit down and you're going to work with a fictitious business owner. You're going to process bank feeds. You're going to send out invoices and receive payments. You're going to record deposits and pay bills. Every month you will learn there's a particular focus. So in the first month, in February, you learn how to use estimates and purchase orders. And then every month you reconcile reports, you run reports, or you reconcile accounts and you run reports. So you're actually doing it, and you can get an entire year's worth of experience being a bookkeeper in just 42 real-time hours. So each month takes about 3 to 4 hours to work through. Remember, you're actually being a bookkeeper for this fictitious business owner, so it's not light and easy. It's like, it's work as if you were getting paid for it, okay? So that is the QBO Gym. Oh my gosh, guys, I just realized I totally forgot. Oh shoot, I forgot a thing that I have to set up because I mentioned we're going to be doing a drawing today and I've got to get that set up. So hold on 1 second. Hold on a moment right here. Oh my gosh. So we just started this. If you're new, then this is like the first time we are doing this. Is we are now doing a monthly drawing for the people who have earned badges in the previous month. So we are going to be doing a drawing today of people who have earned badges since we just announced it, I think, on October 17th. So we only have a record from October 17th through the end. I don't think we have everybody who got a badge in October, but in December, so we're going to do this the first Friday of every month. So December, I think it's December 6th, we'll do a drawing for everybody that got a badge in November. But there's a catch. You can't just earn the badge. You have to tell us what you learned in that month's worth of exercises. Okay, so Wheel of Names. Hold on, I gotta get this set up. And you do get an entry in the drawing every time that every time you comment and tell us what you learned. Okay, so all right, so that is set up. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot to do that. Okay, now, where was I? I was talking about the gym. Okay, now, Oh, I got to share my screen again. Okay, phew, I'm so glad I remembered that. Okay, that was huge. All right, so everything that you do in the gym is tied to Booksmatch, okay? So Booksmatch is our dashboard for all of your courses. So you actually link to all of the courses from Booksmatch. But if you are if you are an active member of the gym, then we're also tracking your stats. So you can see, and here we have Patina, I think 2 weeks in a row is ranked number 1. And so Patina has verified 441 skills, and they are divided into skill groups. So you can click on any skill group and see like what you've learned. And then in the comparison, you can see how you are compared to everyone else in the pool, okay? But these stats are not just for you. You can, as an active member, you can actually click a little button that says open to work, and you can open up your stats and basically prove to people in the outside world that you know what you're doing, okay? And so for that, we have 3 metrics that we keep track of to rank you for the people who are looking for bookkeepers. The first is your overall knowledge. This is from when you started to to now, the total number of skills that you have verified, okay? And then what we wanted to do is we wanted to reward people who are brand new but are kicking butt, okay? So somebody who has been around for a long time, if you've been around since the very beginning, you're automatically going to have a lot of knowledge and skill points, okay? Because you've been doing it for a long time. But we want to recognize the people who are brand new but are working hard, and so that's why we keep track of speed. Now, speed is not how quickly you go through an exercise, but how many skills, how many skills you verify in a particular week. Okay. And then the third thing that we keep track of, and this is actually the most important metric, is your consistency. We want you to be doing an exercise to increase your skills at least every 2 weeks. And we started doing that because we worked with the recruiter to help develop this. And she said that her biggest frustration was reaching out to people who weren't actually looking for work anymore, who were, who were taken or, had found a job or whatever. And so anyway, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, so she actually wanted us to just send out a weekly check-in. She wanted us to have like a thing where you just had to check a box to say, yes, I'm still open. Yes, I'm still open. Yes, I'm still open. And we thought 2 things. One, we thought, we're not going to have you just check a box. We're going to actually make sure that you continue to upskill. And so that's why we have an exercise of the week. The other thing we did was we said, well, once a week seems kind of excessive. That's what she wanted, but we said that seems kind of excessive. So now your consistency is ranked high if you do at least 1 skill every 2 weeks, every 14 days. That's why you say that. So those 3 metrics are used to keep track of exceptional or to rank you. And so we have exceptional talent, top talent, rising talent, and then it goes down from there. And by the way, we just had this reviewed by another group of people, and there are some changes happening because they told us like some other things that they want to see about you. And so that's not part of the big announcement, but it is like, that is a thing that is coming. Okay. So the reason that we have an exercise a week is because we want to provide you. Now, some of you are brand new. There's plenty of stuff for you to work on. You don't need an exercise a week to keep your consistency high. You just work in the gym. But some of you have been around for a while or have gotten through everything. And so now we every week keep giving you more and more so that you can continue to grow and continue to upskill. And the benefit of doing that is that we have an exercise a week that we can share for free for everybody on our on the live stream, here in the locker room. Okay, so the exercise of the week is its own course. It is unlocked when you reach 250 points in the gym. The reason is because you don't need it before. You don't need it before then. But people were begging us. They wanted to do it. So that's why we have the exercise of the week. Okay, so this is the exercise of the week. This is what we're going to do. But before we do this, we're going to do our drawing. Okay, so inside the locker room, we just started this, so some of you might not be aware that this happened. Some of it, I don't know, it depends on where you are and all that stuff. Okay, so in the locker room, we have added this section called guides. Okay, and the guides have the October celebrations. So Caitlin, who is our curriculum development manager, she is now getting notified every time one of you earns a badge. That's a lot. So she is, and by the way, I guess I didn't mention, but the gym is all gamified, so you earn points and badges. I created it as I wanted it as Duolingo for bookkeepers. So that was kind of my vision. So it's all gamified. And so every month you earn a badge. And now Caitlin is being notified every time somebody earns a badge. And then once a month, she's going to go in here and she's going to tag you in Facebook. If you are not in the Facebook group, but you are in the gym, you have to be in the Facebook group because that's where she is. There were half of the people that earned badges were not actually in Facebook. So make sure that you do that. So anyway, on the, here is the month. Here are all of the, let me make this a little bigger. Here are all of the months. Okay. So in February, these are all of the things that you do in the month of February in the gym, okay? And so Caitlin has gone through and she's tagged you. And if you go in and respond to that tag and give us a testimonial or, tell us something you learned, what did you find most valuable about that month in the gym? Then you post it in here, and that's how you get entered in the drawing. And you do get an entry every time. So if you earn multiple gym, remember I said that it only takes 42 real-time hours to complete an entire year of the gym. So you could conceivably get an entire year's worth of experience in just 1 month, okay? So if you go in and you comment each month, then you're going to get 12 entries in the drawing. When you see the drawing, you'll see people whose names are in there multiple times. That's because they earned multiple badges in a given month. Okay. So I'm just going to read a couple of these. This is actually why I was why my son kept saying, Mom, get in the studio, because I was just so excited reading. I was excited reading this stuff. Sherry says, I am not a newbie, but I classify myself as I had no idea what I was looking at. Being in the gym and working through the sample company makes every day an aha day. I can't wait to keep learning so I can dive into my grandson's books again and know what I am doing. Patina says, my biggest aha moment during February's QBO Gym Year 2 was discovering how easy it is to create purchase orders and invoices directly from estimates. I love the Fascinating QBO Gym because it gives me the opportunity to practice real client work. This month, I had the chance to see how all the transactions appeared on the financial statements and the estimate and progress invoice summary. And then Becky says, I have loved my time in the gym for the hands-on experience it has given me. Learning how to make a purchase order from an estimate and then converting that to an estimate or an expense or an invoice has given me more confidence in working with QuickBooks. These are so good. I love this. Lindsay says, I like the feature of adding employee time to a specific project and seeing it all come together on the project profitability. QBO is helping me learn the day-to-day of bookkeeping and be more confident in using it. And I just love these so much. And there was another one. Where was the bigger one? Let's see. Here's one. Pam says, the biggest aha moment for me was how to add all outstanding invoices due to on the current invoice. We have a client that has been sending one invoice for each occurrence. There have been several lessons that hit where we are currently working, but this was a big one. I love this so much because Pam already has a client, so you might think that Pam already knows it all, but she's still learning stuff that is applying to her current stuff. Oh my gosh. So anyway, so these are the testimonials. Oh my gosh, I love them so much. Thank you so much. Feels like there was one more that I wanted to highlight. This is my, I have to come up with a better process to mark the ones that I want to read to you when we do the drawing because, so good. All right. So the people who commented and gave us their ahas and their insights are going to be entered in a drawing, and they are going to win one free month of the gym. Okay, so what that means is what we're going to do is if you win, we're going to go back and refund you whatever you're paying for the gym. Then we're going to refund you that. If some of you have annual subscriptions, if you have an annual subscription, we're going to take whatever you're paying annually divided by 12, and then that's whatever that number is, that's what we're going to refund you. Okay? So as you can see, we've got a ton of people in here. We have 24 people in here right now. Some of them, as you can see, Becky, she was rocking it. She's in there several times. Becky, oh my gosh. So we are going to do this. At some point, it will get too large for just do one drawing. So at some point we'll have to figure out, I'll see what this is. Again, this is only from October 17th, I think was when we started. So this isn't even everybody in October. But eventually it'll get too big and we'll have to do multiple ones. Maybe I'll just say for every 25 people, because we have 24 today, maybe I'll just say for every 25 entries, we'll do a drawing. I don't know. So Peggy just asked, how do we get multiple entries? And the answer is by leaving multiple comments. So every time that you earn a badge, you have an opportunity to leave a comment and say that, what your aha was, what you learned, etc. So if you do multiple badges in a month, then you have multiple opportunities to do that. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question, Peggy. Okay. All right, let's click it to spin. Let's see who is going to win our drawing this month. Woohoo! Here we go, here we go, here we go. And surprise, surprise, it is Becky! Woohoo! Awesome. Let me go back and read one of Becky's. Here's one. Let's see. That one was good. Let's see. There was learning how to use classes and locations was such a good exercise. I also was grateful for knowing how to handle a bounce check. So that was good. Knowing how to use tags is another area that I need to work in, but it was so helpful to do the exercises and running reports using the tags. So you can see just a couple of her. Becky said, I enjoyed learning how to use corporate credit cards and how to properly set it up as well as how to write off an invoice. So, yay! All right. So Becky, Joel, if you are still awake. So Joel had to work really, really late last night, and we had to get up super early this morning for a thing, and so he is dragging. And so I said, so he said, make sure you say my name several times, Joel, before you ask me for anything, because we want to make sure that he's awake. So we want to note that Becky, actually I can just leave this open. Becky Steele 2 is the winner of this month's drawing. I can't wait. So the next up, it's going to be December 6th, and I can't wait to see, like, oh my gosh, reading your ahas is so much fun. That's like my favorite part. So reading your ahas, reading like what you loved about the gym, like that's just so great. So December 6th, and these are all this is going to be for all of the November people. So if you're in the gym, work, earn those badges, and then you'll, at the end of the month, you'll have an opportunity to post your comments. We are trying to figure out a way that you can post your comment like right when you receive the badge, but we haven't figured that that technology. That's why Caitlin is right now tagging you in Facebook. Okay, now let's get on with our exercise. Speaking of working in the gym, let's get moving on our exercise. I'm so excited about this exercise. I'm so excited. Okay. All right. So for the last couple of weeks, we have been focusing on account movement. Let's see, you can't see that very well. There we go. So we've been talking about account movement, okay? So we talked about how money moves around when you record an expense. Last week we talked about how money moves around when you record a sales receipt. Today we're going to talk about how money moves around when you record a bill, okay? And we're taking a deep dive into understanding how this affects accounts, how it affects the debits and credits, the general ledger, what's happening underneath, okay? All right, so if you are in the gym, if you are a subscriber to the gym and the exercise of the week is unlocked, you need to go into your account and click the link here, okay? If you click the link that Joel just put in the chat, it's not going to update your Booksmatch, okay? So the link that's in the chat is for the people who are not subscribed to the gym, okay? Oh, I just noticed that Becky is on the call today. Woohoo! Congratulations, Becky. All right, so so Joel has put the link in the chat, but that link is just for the people who are not subscribed. The people who are subscribed and have the exercise unlocked, you need to do it from in here in order to get your Booksmatch credit. Okay, so let's go ahead and click this link. Okay, understanding account movement, and let's read our scenario. So Craig has decided to hire his niece Carla to help out in the office and wanted to teach her how to process bank feeds. Unfortunately, they don't really know what they're doing. Okay? This is not an uncommon situation. So, and it should sound familiar because the last two exercises of the week were they were the identical scenario, except for this part is a little bit different. They've added a bill, but don't understand why they're not seeing it in the bank transactions. Can you help them understand what's going on here? Okay, so you guys should think to yourselves, do you know already why, if I add a bill, why wouldn't I see that appear in the bank feeds? Well, we're going to walk through it. Okay. So this exercise, like almost all of our exercises, is done in the sample company. So you need to log into your QuickBooks Online account, click the gear icon. They're now calling that the General Settings cog. That's the new term for the gear icon. We all still call it the gear icon. We're going to go to the sample company. Billy says because it's not paid. All right, well, we're going to dive into it. All right, so when you click on the sample company, you are going to be logged out of your, oh my gosh, I can't think all of a sudden, out of your QBOA account. You're going to be logged out of your account. Now, usually I make a big deal about how you don't want to do this when you are taking the test, because it will log you out of the test, okay? This year, beginning this year, you don't even have access to it. I mean, it will still log you out, but you will not see. Actually, now I'm correcting myself. Now there is a way for you to try and load it. But anyway, don't load the sample company while you are trying to take the test, because it will log you out. Okay. All right. So, and don't let me forget, by the way, my big announcement. Like, I'm going to get so distracted and get so into this that I'm going to forget my big announcement at the end. So everyone remind me, if I start to say goodbye, see you next week, you'll be like, Margie, what about the big announcement? Okay, so we're going to open the sample company. All right. Did I click on that? There we go. All right, so there's the sample company. I'm going to go back to my exercise and start in the sample company, yada, yada. Okay, now let's get on with the exercise. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to add a bill, because we have to duplicate what Craig and, what did I say her name was, Carla? What they did, they created a bill and they said they didn't see it in the bank, in the bank feeds, okay? So we're going to add a bill so we can take a look at it. Okay, so that bill we're going to add is for Hall Properties, which he leases some space from them. Okay, so, and they charge him $900. So what we're going to do is we're going to click plus new. Before we do that, you'll notice that there is a little button here that says Guide Me. This button appears when you have the Scribe plugin added to if you're using Google Chrome, you can add an extension. We use a product called Scribe, and you'll see it here, Scribe AI documentation, SOPs, and screenshots is probably what it says there. If you add this, you go to the Chrome web store and you search for this and you add it in Google Chrome. Then when you do our exercises, you'll have this little button that says Guide Me. And if you have the sample company open, I'm going to just click confirm right there. Then poof, look at that. It puts the exercise right next to the sample company. Okay, so here is the exercise on the right-hand side. I'm sorry I can't make it any bigger, but hopefully you can see well enough. And then on the left-hand side, we have our sample company. Okay. So now we're going to click plus new, and we're going to select bill. Oh my gosh, we didn't get the AI pop-up. Okay, look at this. Do you see step 4? So when I was doing this morning, this was the first time that I saw this really cool thing. It says, maybe some of you guys are doing it while you're following along. It says it's in beta, and you can actually just add the bill right here, and it'll populate the bill in QBO. This is, oh my gosh, so much better than the way they currently have it working. I mean, you can do this right now, but it's you do it in a different place and it's confusing, and like, this is so beautiful. I'm like, I want this to be working because it's so beautiful. But apparently they don't have it later today. They just had it earlier this morning for some reason. All right, so this is for Hall properties. Okay. Now notice that I selected Hall properties and it automatically filled in that it was the building lease for $900. It knows that because there's a setting in your accountant settings. I can't do it right now, but there's a setting in your accountant settings that asks if you want to pre-fill historical data, okay? Sometimes it's useful, sometimes it is annoying, okay? So you have to decide on a client-by-client basis, like what makes sense. If you're doing a cleanup, you always want to make sure and turn that off because you don't want anything, because you want to be in control. That's one of the lessons you get from cleanup, is that you want to be in control when you're doing a cleanup, and then afterwards you can turn on any automations you want, you can turn them back on, okay? Quick tip for you guys. All right, so here is the bill. That's why it's there. Now what we want to do is we're going to save this bill, and we just want to look at how the general ledger, what's underneath, is what it looks like when we save this bill. Uyi says the autofill AI did show up in hers. So I don't know, maybe some of you guys got it. Just close it. We're not doing that as part of this exercise, but yeah. So anyway, what was I saying? Anyway, yeah, so just close the AI thing. Where is my brain? Last week, I said I had Spain brain because I had just come back from Spain, but it's been a week, so I think I shouldn't have Spain brain anymore. Okay, so I'm going to save this. And now I can take a look at the transaction journal, which is how the accounts are affected under the hood. Okay, so I'm going to click Transaction Journal. And you'll notice what accounts were affected. Okay, so the accounts payable was affected and the rent or lease account was affected. Notice that a bank account was not affected. So Billy, woohoo! That was you, right? Yeah. So at this point, we're just adding it in the system. We haven't actually paid this bill yet. And so there's nothing that's going to hit any bank account, okay? What it does do is it hits the accounts payable account and the rent or lease account. So we're going to take a deeper dive into this. But first, we need to understand this debit and credit situation, okay? So here we go. Those of you who have been on for a while, here we go. I should make you guys do this. You've heard me say it from now on. I'm not going to rest on this because, we talk to the accountants. We're talking to the people that are going to hire you. And this is like, they want you to know this at a deep level. And so I'm going to keep teaching you guys at a deep level. Okay, so let's talk about debits and credits. Now, in accounting, every transaction has to balance. Okay, so there has to be, if there's money on one side, there has to be money on the other side. So let's talk about how that works, okay? Now, in order to understand this, wait a minute, that's not the first slide. Where is my first slide? Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. So if you put something, so you can think of this as like a seesaw, okay? Some people think of it as like a scale with that's too complicated. I think it's easier to just think of it as a seesaw, okay? So you've got a seesaw, you put something on one side, that means you've got to put something on the other side to balance it out, okay? And that is referred to as double entry accounting. I'm going to skip this because I think I have more slides in here than what I actually need to show you right now. Okay. All right. Now, in order to understand this, the first thing you have to understand is where accounts naturally lie. Like, where do they start? I think it was Uyi actually who said, like, what house do they live in? Okay. So, and the way to understand this, so we're going to draw a line, and the things that are on the right are the places that money comes from. The ones that are on the left are the places where money goes, or in other words, you can think of it as the destination, okay? So if it's where it comes from, that's called a credit. And if it's where it's going, if it's the destination, it's called a debit, okay? So where does money come from typically? Well, there's three main places, okay? The first is revenue. Revenue is the money that you receive from your customers. You buy product, or you sell your products and services, you get money from a customer, that's revenue, okay? Another place that you might get money is from the owner, okay? So the owner of the business puts their own money into the account, and that's called equity. The third place you might get money is from an institution of some kind, and that's called a liability, okay? So a liability means that you owe it, you have to pay it back, okay? So this would be, for example, a loan or a credit card. Those are liabilities, okay? So that's where they start, okay? So right now we're just talking about where things start. So they're starting on liability, equity, and revenue. Start on the left-hand, or start on the right-hand side, on the credit side, okay? So what's on the left-hand side? Well, what do we have to balance this out? Well, the first thing is we have assets. Assets are the things that you own, the things that the business owns. And that could be reflected as money, like just money in a bank account. That's something it owns. Or it could be something like what we call a fixed asset, which would mean like something you have to sell in order to get the money. So the inventory, equipment, vehicles, okay? So those are all assets, and they live naturally on the left side, okay? Next is another place that money goes is expenses. As a business, you have to buy stuff, okay? So you have to own things, or you have to like pay for employees, you have to pay for equipment, you have to pay for gas to get there. Like every time you have to pay something, that's an expense. And then the third type is the money that is owed back to the owner, and that's called a distribution or a dividend. Now, what's kind of cool about this, and my head's going to be in the way as I do this, and that's the D, sorry, as I do this, but you'll get the gist, is that each of these three things kind of line up with something else on the other side. Okay, so on both sides, we have owners. On the right side, on the credit side, we have equity. And on the left-hand side, we have the distributions and dividends that go back to the owners. For assets, okay, those are frequently institutions. Okay, so we might have money in a bank, and then we also might owe money to a bank, right, as a liability. Okay, so those two are kind of connected. And then we have revenue, which comes from customers. And then we have expenses that come from vendors, okay? So the ones that are the customers, the ones that are vendors, so those are kind of connected, okay? Now, and I forgot, let me do one thing here because I have a slide hidden because I don't always talk about it, and I need to today, okay? So we've just done this, And so that's kind of simple. Now, when we are talking about accrual accounting, we have two more accounts that kind of blur the lines a little bit, but if you think about it, it totally makes sense, okay? And that is accounts receivable, okay? So accounts receivable is when a customer owes you money, okay? So you send out an invoice, there's a period of time between when they pay it. In that period of time, when they owe you the money, that amount of money goes to, I'm sorry, my head's in the way and there's nothing I can do about it. That money is considered an asset, okay? So accounts receivable, they owe you money, okay? And then the opposite is true when you owe somebody else money, and that's what we're talking about today. So today we're talking about accounts payable. You owe somebody else money, which is kind of like it's not a loan, but it's a liability. Like in the same way that a loan is a liability, we owe money to somebody, okay? So that's where accounts payable lives, is on the right-hand side, okay? So in accounting, when they use the term debit, they always mean moving to the left. And when they say credit, that always means moving to the right, okay? And this can be uber confusing for people. And so that's why we're now going over it every week in the live stream, because I want you to like it. I want you to like get it deep in your soul, okay? This is a thing you have to understand deep in your soul, okay? So in order to understand why it works the way it does, I want you to think back when you were in school. And when you were in school, you learned how to graph numbers. And when you did that, you had a line, and in the middle was 0, okay? So you have, on the right-hand side, you have positive numbers. You went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, up on the right-hand side, okay? So when numbers on the right-hand side increase, they move further to the right. When numbers on the when the numbers on the right-hand side decrease, they move to the left. They move closer to 0, okay? So in the land of positive numbers, it's all easy. It totally makes sense, okay? Where it gets challenging is when we're talking about the left-hand side. But you can get it working in your brain if you realize that this works the way negative numbers work on the chart. So when you did this math, you went -1, -2, -3, and you went further to the left, okay? When you increased negative numbers, which direction did it go? It went to the left. Where's my arrow? I don't know where my arrow is. When you decreased, there, I don't know why it went that direction. But when it increases, when it's a negative number and it's increasing, it's going to the left, okay? It's getting more negative. When it's decreasing, so it's less that much, it's going closer to 0 as it decreases, okay? So let's take a look at our transaction and see how this plays in. Okay, so let me make this a little bit, I'm going to close that. I'm going to make this a little bigger so you can see it. Okay, so what did we just say about accounts payable? Accounts payable is a liability, which means it's on the right. And now we have more liability, right? We have more that we owe to other people now. We added this bill we owe more to other people. And that's going to increase. It lives on the right, so it's going to increase on the right, okay? Now, the rent or lease is an expense. Where does the expense live? The expense lives on the left-hand side, and when that increases, okay, so now we have more rental expense, it increases. What direction does it increase? It increases to the left, to the debit, Okay, so this is why you see this. Now, this account, accounts payable, is a balance sheet account. So we should be able to see this activity on the balance sheet. Okay, and so now let's get back to our exercise. Because accounts payable is a liability account, and by the way, not everything I just described, but it's here in what I just said, is liabilities are on the credit side. So when they increase to the right. The expense account, rent or lease, is also increased. Expense accounts are on the debit side. So when they increase to the left. Okay, so that's what I just said. So now we're going to take a look at the balance sheet and see how this is affected. Okay, so I'm going to open this back up. I'm going to go to reports. I'm on step 10 of the exercise. Okay, and I'm going to go to balance sheet. Okay. The balance sheet total includes all bills that are currently unpaid. You can click the number to see exactly which bills are included in the total. So let me close this so you can see it better. Okay, so here's our balance sheet. A balance sheet, for those of you who are just starting out, a balance sheet is a snapshot of the business financials at a moment in time, so on a specific day. However, when you run a balance sheet report, you have a range of days. Now, the range of days just shows you, it just indicates how far to go back when you look at the detail on a number, okay? This is actually the last day. This is actually the day of the day of the report, the balances on this day at this moment, okay? So when you're on a balance sheet, you can click on any number to find out the details of how they got that number. And so we're going to go down to accounts payable. We're going to click on the number right here, okay? And if I scroll down to the bottom, hopefully my head's not in the way, good. If I scroll down to the bottom, here is that Hall Properties bill, okay? It added $900. It added $900 to the total of accounts payable, okay? So that is now added to that account, okay? Now, so when can you expect to see, so we already established that this is not going to show up in the bank feed, okay? When would you expect it to show up in the bank feed? Well, when it's paid, okay, as Billy said. So let's pay this bill and see what happens, okay? All right, so I'm gonna open this back up. No, I'm gonna stay right on here. I'm gonna just click on bill. I'm gonna click mark as paid. Oops, dang it. I forgot to change oh, here, I can do it now, sorry. I thought I'd forgotten a step. Okay, so now we're gonna pay it out of the checking account. We're gonna check, this is the bill. If there were multiple bills for Hall Properties, you'd have the whole list there to be able to choose from, okay? But it's just that one, okay? And now we're gonna click save and close. Unfortunately, this transaction doesn't allow you to just click save and then see the transaction journal. So we're gonna have to jump through a couple of hoops to get to it, but we'll still be able to see it. Okay, so I'm gonna hit save and close. That's gonna take me back to the transaction report that I was just on. So I'm gonna click the bill again. Okay, notice it says one payment made, so I'm going to click there. Okay, now you guys are, you're with me on the day that we're creating this. Somebody who is, if you are doing this exercise on your own another time, the date is going to be different, but you can click on the date and that'll take you to the payment, okay? I just said that right here. Know that your day will be different. Okay. All right, so now we're looking at the bill payment record. See that? And now we can go to click More and see the transaction journal. We can see what happened. And I'm going to close this so you can see it better. Okay, so now we have checking. Now checking was affected. Remember how when I paid the bill, I selected checking from the drop-down? So now the checking account has been affected. Now that's what you're going to match to on the bank feed, okay? But okay, so let's take a look at what happened. So when you paid this bill, money came out of your checking account. That means you have less in your checking account, right? Where does the checking account naturally lie? I'm going to let you guys answer that. There's always a delay, so it will take a second for your comments to go. Oh, that was quick already. Ooh, very good. So the checking account is an asset, so it naturally lives on the left-hand side. There is less money now in your checking account. If there is less negative, okay, if there's less negative, it's closer to zero, meaning what? Meaning it's on the it's being credited, okay? So that's why the credit here, that amount is on the credit right there. Now, let's talk about what happened to accounts payable. Well, before we had so accounts payable is a liability. It naturally lives on the right-hand side, okay? So it means we owe other people, and now there is less liability, okay? We paid the bill. We don't owe that money to anybody anymore, okay? So there's less money there. So if there's less money in a liability account, which is on the right-hand side, which direction is it going to go? Left, okay? So that's why you see the debit, that's why it's on the left-hand side, because it came out of accounts payable. So we should be able to see all of this that we just did on the balance sheet. So let's take a look at it, okay? So we're going to I have to open this back up again. I'm going to go to Reports. Click on the balance sheet. Okay. So here is, let me close this again. All right, so here's the checking account. Money came out of the checking account. So we should be able to see that the checking account was decreased, right? Or reduced. So let's click that number. Okay, here's our list. Here it is at the bottom. Look, negative 900. Okay, it took money out of the checking account. When you paid the bill, it took money out of the checking account. So it's reduced. Okay, so let's look at the accounts payable account. That should also be reduced, right? So let's take a look at the accounts payable. We're going to click back to summary. We're going to go to the accounts payable account right here. And look, there's 2 Hall Properties entries. This is the first one. When we added the liability, now we had more liability. We owed more, right? So that's the first one. Now the second one reduced the liability. We don't owe that money anymore because we paid it. So now you have the negative number, okay? All right, now what about the bank feed? What should we expect to see on the bank feed? We already said that the bill itself shouldn't be on in the bank feed. So the bill payment is what we should see. Okay, so let's take a look. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to go to Bank transactions. Okay, close our pop-ups, darn sample company. Okay, let's take a look at this. Okay, here is a Hall Properties match for $900. This is not the one that we just created, okay? I don't want you to get confused. It's not the one that we just created. The one we just created has today's date on it, okay? This is one that was already in the system from last month. I can't create bank transactions for current stuff. Like I can't do that as part of an exercise. So what we're looking at now is an old one, but it's the same stuff, okay? So it is, notice that it says it's a bill payment. It's matching to a bill payment. There was a bill for Hall Properties. It was paid. Now this is matching to that payment, okay? Well, what if somebody recorded the bill but did not record the payment? So there was nothing for the bank transaction. The bank transaction can't match to that payment. What would happen? Let's find out. Because we're all nerds, right? Okay. So in order for that to happen, what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to delete this bill payment. Okay, so we're gonna have to see what would happen if this bill payment was not recorded. So we're gonna click this and we're gonna go to it and we're going to delete it. Okay, and we do that by clicking more and then clicking delete and then confirming, yes, we're not crazy. We actually do want to do that. Okay. Now, let's take a look at that transaction. Okay, notice it no longer is matching to bill payment. Remember earlier it said bill payment right here. It's not matching to the bill payment. It's matching to the bill. So QuickBooks will look first for the payment, and if it doesn't find the payment, it will look for the open bill. Billy thinks that when we do this, it's going to result in a duplicate expense. Let's see if that's true. Okay, so let's say the record came across in the bank. There is no, like we added the bill, but we didn't ever record that we paid that bill. It was just sitting out there. Okay, so now QBO it sees the bill. It's like, well, I think this was this payment for this bill. You didn't record a bill payment, but I think that this is the one that matches. So let's see what happens. So we're going to match it. Okay, now let's go back to the vendor record so we can see what happened. So we're going to go to expenses and then vendors. We're going to go to Hall Properties. Okay. And then I'm going to close this one too, so you can just see right here what happened. Okay, look what it did. So this is the one that was matching. These are the two that we did earlier. Okay, so don't get confused. These are the two we did earlier. This is the one that was already out there. Okay, so this is the bill it just matched to. Look what it did. It created a bill payment. And we can verify that. We click on the bill payment and then click one online banking match. Look, it says manually added. It's behaving as if instead of clicking match, we clicked add. It's behaving as if we clicked add because it added a bill payment, and that bill payment actually says on it that it was manually added. Even though we never manually added it, we actually just clicked match. Okay? All right. So the question might be then, can I just do that all the time? Can I just use my bank feed to record bill payments? The answer is technically you can. Like technologically, QuickBooks Online does allow you to do that, but it's not good practice. It's not good practice. What should happen is that when you record a bill, when you pay a bill, you then go in and record that bill as paid, okay? You record it as paid, and then your payment is what matches the bank feed, okay? All right, that's it. Who has questions? I didn't see any. You didn't see any questions pop up. I think you guys are rocking and rolling, and you guys are amazing. All right. I'll see if any questions pop up while I'm getting this ready. Okay. I don't see any questions. So either I put you guys to sleep or we're good. Okay. Jason says, why is it good practice? It is good practice to record something as you are doing it and never rely on the bank feed, because the bank feed there will always be a delay when something goes through the bank. Okay, so for example, let's say that you paid that bill with a check. You wrote a check, okay, and then the recipient of that check took months to cash it, right? Have you ever done that? Have you ever written a check to a kid for a birthday and then it was like a long time before they cashed it because they don't know what checks are and how to handle them and all that stuff, right? Well, you need to record that money has actually, you need to record it as if money has gone out of your bank account. Because if you don't, then you'll think that you have more money than you actually do, and there's a chance of overdraft. Like that's the risk. So when you pay the bill, you should always record it, because who knows how long it's going to take for it to show up at the bank. Okay? All right. Sarah says this was her first time on the live streams and she learned so much. Awesome. We are delighted to have you. Woohoo. So glad you're here. Okay, Margie, can we at some point talk about accrual for year-end bills that the invoices were not received by the year end? Yep. So, yeah, we can. We're going to keep doing these deep dives. We're going to keep doing these deep dives. I already have next week's planned. There is, by the way, a reason that that we're going through these deep dives, and it's related to my big announcement for next week, not the big announcement today. You know, my team is like, no, you can't say it yet. We're not ready. Okay. So, I am so sorry, Becky. I don't want to put your comment on the screen, but I am seeing it. I'm reading it, and I am so grateful that we could help you during this difficult time. Stephanie is saying, can you share today's graphic like you did last week's? Yes, I can. Ashley, I would love to be able to print those graphics. Okay. Yep, I will. Tell me which ones you want. Is it the okay, is it, so I'm guessing that it is this one that you want. Sorry, I have to build it out here. That one. Is it that one? That's the one I think that you guys asked for last week. Last week we didn't have accounts payable and accounts receivable. I left it off on purpose because I didn't want to confuse things, because we weren't talking about that last week. But this week, because now we're talking about accounts payable, can you guess maybe what next week's topic is going to be? Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. I'm sorry. Oops. This one. Okay, hold on. I think I have to build it out again. This one. Okay. is this, I think this is the graphic that you said you wanted. So that is, so yes, I can post that. But do you also want this one? I have to build it out. I don't know why my arrow is not in the right order. So we'll call this one slide B and the other one slide A. Do you want slide A and B, or is it just one or the other that you wanted? Okay, somebody says I'll take them all. Okay, I'll take them all, please. I'm glad you like my slides. So related, so you may have noticed that the colors are a little, those of you who've been on for a while may have noticed that the colors are different. That may or may not be related to one of the big announcements. Okay, both. Everyone's saying both. Okay. All right, you're twisting my arm. All right, so one more thing that I need to cover, and then we will go over today's announcement, which now I've been building it up so much, it's not as big as the ones the next 2 weeks. I've built it up so much, and now you're gonna say, yeah, duh, Margie, we know. If you read, Uyi's saying, I know the big announcement, the one for today, I did mention it in the newsletter. So yeah, it was in the newsletter. So if you read the newsletter, but let's get through this marketing prompts first. Because one of the benefits of the QBO Gym, as you are working through the gym, you earn marketing prompts. And the marketing prompts are, the reason they came about is because I just kept hearing people say, I know that I'm supposed to be posting on social media, but I don't know what to say. Like as you guys are trying to build your announcements or build your businesses, and you're like, oh, I know I'm supposed to post on social media, but I don't know what to say. And so so I said, well, every week that you're working in the gym, you're like learning something new. That's what you need to post. And so I started building that into the gym. So now in the gym, as you're working through everything, you actually unlock marketing prompts to be able to help you talk about what you just learned. And so we do that in the exercise of the week too. And so here is a sample post of something that you could post. We're now calling them QBO quick tips, that if you want to post on your social media, what you just learned is here's what you could say. So you've added a bill in QuickBooks Online, but when you check the bank feed transactions, it's not there. Why not? Did you do something wrong? Nope, that's exactly what's supposed to happen. Give me a buzz and I'll show you why. Okay? So Catherine says you had me at marketing prompts. So we did put together a training for a methodology on how to actually use these. Joel, you can put that one in the chat too. It's the 3-2-1. We call it the 3-2-1 method. And we are in the process of re-recording that. So, but that will, for those of you who need it, that will give you a little help. I'll say Joel to wake him up because he might have fallen asleep. Remember, he was up really late and then up really, really this morning. Or somebody else can just post it. It's www.fastandeasyqbo.com/321. And that will take you to the little training that I did on it. But look for a new training on that coming up. Oh, Joel's awake. Except he included more than just the link. So you won't be able to click on it from the chat. But anyway, so that will help you. And that is your marketing prompt. Okay. All right, guys, it's time for the big announcement. which now I'm so embarrassed because it's really not that big. But it's not as big as the next two announcements. I mean, they're getting progressively bigger, let me just say. Thanks, Catherine. They're getting progressively bigger. So this one is a small announcement, and then next week is a big announcement, and then the week after that is a giant announcement. Okay, so today's announcement is that we have finished the this year's what we call our everything document. So every year I write an ebook called Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor Certification. It is like the most popular thing that, like, it is like over and above, like the most popular thing we do is this ebook that I put out. And as you know, this year Intuit totally changed, completely revamped the Pro Advisor Academy. They released something new called the Pro Advisor Academy. They completely revamped, gutted their whole training program, how it all works, and so I finally finished late last night this new book. It's an ebook. It's totally free, and it's the new name. See if you can tell the difference. The new name is Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor Academy and Certification. So it used to be just certification. I added the words Academy and. This is really important. Like, this is a really important stepping stone. For those of you who are already certified, you don't have to worry about it. Okay? Don't worry about it. If you need any of your certifications, then you really need to grab this document, because so I go over all of the details, like how the whole Pro Advisor Academy works, how it's set up, what to click, what to not click, what things to look out for, what things will, are like buttons that will lead you astray, or like tips and tricks for taking the test. I'll just tell you a quick one, guys, is that this year when you take the test, there are two ways to take the test. You can either do it as a test out option, and I go into all of that detail, okay? All about the test out option, how it all works. And then you can do it at the course level option, which means you have to go through their training in order to take the test at the end, okay? Both of these options have the same problem, which is that they do not warn you when you're on your last question, okay? So you get on your last question. If you're doing the test out option, if you've taken the test before, you know that you would always answer the questions. Then there would be like a review your answers before you submit, right? That is no more, guys. That is no more. If you're doing the test out option, there is a way to review your answers. But if you're not paying attention carefully, then you could end up submitting it very easily. You could very easily end up submitting it without realizing it, without having an opportunity to review your answers. If you're doing the course test, then course level test, you don't even have an option to review your answers at all. You just have to go through the test, and you have to be super careful. So in the ebook, I go over like all of the nitty-gritty things of like what to look out for, how to navigate, because it's not intuitive, what button to click when, why you want to behave a certain way. Okay, so Joel, I gave you that link too, so if you could put that in the chat. So anybody who wants to grab the new everything doc that we just released, you can click the link below. As soon as Joel, wake up, Joel. He'll post that link shortly. If he fell asleep, then I'll dig it up, and I have to it's not easy for me to post in the chat, which is why I have Joel doing it for me. But I can do it. It just takes me a few clicks. So this is the first step. Oh, there it is. Okay, thank you. So this is the first step in the writing of our new certification courses. So we have to, as you know, every year Intuit releases new stuff, and we have to shut down and rebuild all of our matching courses. But this year has been like a huge deal. It's like, because everything changed. So this is the first step in, understanding like all of the nitty-gritty details of how the new academy works. That's the first step on the way to our new Fast and Easy certification courses. So if you haven't heard, if you're under a rock, you know that you can get, while we're shut down, while we're rebuilding, this is the only time we offer like a crazy low, ridiculously low deal on all of our courses. So you can get all 3 certification courses for the price of one. And that's only until we get that level 1 course done. So when the level 1 course is done, then we'll release it, and you won't be able to get the advanced and payroll at such a low price anymore. Also, for the Black Friday deal, just during this special time, we know that everyone wants cleanup so badly. And so we're offering, just during this time, $1,000 off of the cleanup course. Like that's huge. Like it's so big that my team was like, Margie, perhaps this is not a good idea. And I said, okay, well, we're just going to do it. We're just going to do it for this short period of time. So it's an add to your cart. Thing. So you have to buy it with the bundle. And if you are an existing, the only way you can buy it separately is if you're an existing student and we can add it to a credit card on file. If you're an existing student and you don't have a credit card on file, we can't do it. If you are not an existing student and you just want the cleanup, then too bad. So like that's the situation with that. Thank you, June. June says the November bundle is an amazing price. Don't miss it. Thank you. And Joel just posted it in the chat. Okay, so next week, and Megan says, don't miss it all. Cleanup is a deal. Yeah. So next week, don't forget, 2 p.m. Eastern. I'll answer that question in a sec, Pam. Next week, 2 p.m. Eastern instead of 11 a.m. because I'm traveling in the morning. But 2 p.m. will give me enough time to get back into the studio and get going. Okay, and then we'll have another big. Oh my gosh! So I will just say that there's a reason why we have been going so deep in debits and credits on the weekly live streams the last several weeks, and why it's not going to end. Okay, there's a reason why we're doing that, and it's related to our big announcement next week. So I'm just going to plant that seed, see if you guys can think about it, figure it out. All right, so Pam is asking, are individual certification discounts available? No, they're not. If you have some extenuating circumstance, you can always write to support@fastandeasyqbo.com. We can take a look at your history with us and what you have and all of that. But no, like this price is just for the bundle, all 3. And even if you already have, even if you're already basic certified, I know we got this question when we did a similar deal last year. If you're already basic certified, you don't need it. Like it's still a screaming deal to buy it again, Like it's so, like it's just it's a drop in the bucket based on like what you get for the whole thing. Mora says, how do I get the cleanup alone? I have credit card on file with you. Then you write to support@fastandeasyqbo.com and Anthony will help you out with that. Lindsay says, all the announcements and excitement is why you still have Spain brain. Yes, possibly. Just so much good stuff, guys. So much good stuff. The future is bright. If you read the newsletter, you know that like I'm super sensitive to like here, well, you guys are all in the US, but the election cycle has raised a lot of emotions in a lot of people, and I know there's some uncertainty about our future, and I'm just here to tell you that accounting and bookkeeping will always be needed. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the world explodes and we all become tribal. Bookkeeping and accounting will still matter, right? Because if you're gonna barter stuff, if you're gonna like start any kind of a business, it doesn't matter. If we're gonna go back to the cave days or whatever, and you're gonna have a blacksmith shop, like creating tools, you still need bookkeeping and accounting. Like if you're going to be a farmer growing food for the rest of your community, like everyone during the apocalypse, you still need bookkeeping and accounting. So you are in the right place for no matter what happens in this world. So I'm just so glad. Megan says, glad to be part of your community. I am glad that you are here and part of the community because I just love nerding out with you guys. So, all right, that's it for me. You guys have a fantastic weekend. And Catherine says, I'm looking forward to businesses growing and realizing they need help as they focus on their business. The future is so bright for us. Yeah, for us here, absolutely. And I'm so glad to have you on the journey. And I can't wait to hear your success story. Oh, wait. You submitted your email to access the new ebook, but it has not been emailed. How long should I wait? It should be fairly quick. So write to support@fastandeasyqbo.com and we'll see what's going on with your account. If you got the newsletter this morning, did you get the newsletter this morning? If you got the newsletter this morning, then you should have gotten the ebook. So if you did not get the newsletter, then it should have that there may be a problem with your email. So yeah, so just write to us. We'll figure it out. Tara says, this is the most affordable program. All right, thank you. The same for me, Tara. You're saying you did not get the ebook. So, okay. Well, write to support and we'll get you squared away. All right, now for real. I can't wait to see your success. I can't wait to hear your success story. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.